Just because we shouldn't have a move back to the upside doesn't mean we are going to move to the downside immediately. You use all of your confluences to find a bias, a solid bias, and then you use your setup or your model to find a solid entry point to know, okay, now is when we're making that move. Light up for me, baby. Yeah, why you ain't lit? Hold up. We gotta light her up real quick, bro. I don't know why she playing like that. Bro, I ain't gonna lie. I was finna give y'all, a risk to reward video, man. A little psychological video on risk to reward. I got up on this camera. I ain't know what the fuck to say, bro. I ain't even gonna hold you. So it's like my thoughts weren't really flowing. But today, I got a special one for y'all, man. I really do, man. Look, let me turn this shit down a little, cause I think I'm loud as fuck. Look, bro. This is about to be a valuable ass video, bro. This is about to be a valuable ass video. All right, so let's get into it. What am I doing? What we about to get into today, man? I am about to go through my journal. I'm about to go through my trading journal from really this week. Just gonna go over the 4 trades I took. I took 4 trades. Guess how many I lost? 3. I lost 3 of them. One of them trades you ain't seen yet. Y'all niggas have not seen one of them trades yet. So I'm finna be going through my journal. I'm finna go through the charts, and we're gonna find exactly where I took my entries, what I was seeing, what I did wrong. I'm even going to read out my thoughts. This is crazy, right? What trader has shown you their trading journal, bro? I'm finna read you my thoughts, like exactly what I said, the critiques from my shit, you know what I'm saying? All that. And then I'm gonna tell y'all, this video is basically a trade recap for the week. So a weekly recap. And it's to show y'all how to journal effectively so y'all can improve as traders. Now, again, I'm not a profitable trader yet, but one thing I am good at is journaling, my nigga. I'm gonna pull up my reports for the week too. So we gonna go in deep, bro. I'm gonna show y'all everything. So let's go to the weekly time. I mean, this week. Let's see what the fuck happened this week. All right, so I didn't even show y'all this shit. I've been trying to cover up my fucking account number and shit. I don't even think that fucking matters. So fuck that. I'm not doing that shit no more. I don't feel like it. But look, so gross P&L $28 after commissions and fees and all that shit. We ended the week off in profit $19.30, which is pretty fucking shit. I'm gonna be honest. But again, we got a $155 account, man. So, and I'm about to deposit like another 300 or 400. So we're gonna be able to risk a little bit more. But regardless, the one profit trade I had was $78. After commissions, it was around 76. So that one win covered my 4 losses. I mean 3 losses. See, look, number of losing trades, 3. But I only lost $50. That's the power of cutting your losses short and having a good RR, man. And that's what I was gonna talk about, risk to reward, because it's so huge for me. But trading is subjective. I got a friend who loves catching 1-to-ones because he likes to win more often, and he likes just catching a 1-to-one because it makes him, you know what I'm saying? He like that shit. Me, when I catch a 1-to-one, I'm like, cool, okay, I just won the trade. But when I hit a loss and I realize I just wiped out my whole win, it fucks with me, bro. I'd much rather take 3 L's and 1 win and still be in profit like this. So yeah, so look at that. So these are the trades we're gonna go over. These 4 trades right here, and we're gonna start with this first one right here. These 2 were actually the same day. I think it was on the 26th. What was that, Monday? I don't know, but we're gonna go to the journal real quick. So this is March, but look at this. I've been motherfucking documenting my trades since demo, nigga. Since my first demo trade. All this shit, man. Back when I was trading $1, risking $1, my nigga. Like, bro, come on now. This shit is not a game. I ain't gonna hold you. I got like this fire in my soul right now too, cause I just seen this young ass nigga. He's 16. His name on YouTube is Mantis. Nigga 16 years old, bro. And he in class trading. He box and he lift weights. He got a good little physique on his ass too, bro. That shit just made me feel some type of way. Like some healthy competition type shit. Like I feel like I'm not working hard enough at all. Even though I lift and I box and I do all that shit. This nigga 16 doing that, bro. Like, salute to you. But let's go over this shit. So Tuesday was the first live trade I took. And this is what we gonna go over. So it was a MES trade. Alright. Let's see. I took it at 10:11 and I closed at 10:15. So let's just go into what I was thinking for the day. Alright, so we know I've been bearish on NQ and ES for a while. This morning at the gym, I took a peek at ES and I noticed we had retraced into a 1 hour bearish fair value gap. Let me pull this up real quick. I bet. So this is the 1 hour fair value gap I was talking about on ES. So we had pushed down into this fair value gap right here, which is nowhere near equilibrium. We still haven't hit equilibrium at this range yet. Oh, I'm tripping. It is equilibrium. But then we pushed back up. Let's read the recap. We tapped the 1 hour fair value gap, tapped the 50% equilibrium level of the range we were in that started when we swept all-time highs and we took out some 1 hour highs. All right, let's go back real quick. Boom, so from this high to this low, okay, we tapped the 50% mark and we took out these 1 hour highs. I was looking at ES when I was at the gym, so I ain't gonna lie, this whole week I was really looking at ES the most, and NQ was just over here, and I was just looking at it for SMTs, and then sometimes I would take a trade on NQ if the setup was better, but my one win was on NQ, I believe. I did expect to move down because my sentiment has been bearish for the last couple of weeks. Oh, here it goes. I didn't know if we would react in this area or not, but I did expect to move down because my sentiment has been bearish for the last couple of weeks. I continued my workout, went home, took a nap, woke up for NYSE Open, and I saw that we respected that area well, and the 15-minute shifted market structure to the downside. We also had a 15-minute bearish SMT where ES mitigated the 1 hour fair value gap. NQ didn't have any 1 hour imbalances. We created a 15-minute bearish fair value gap when we moved down, and at this point, we had a higher time frame model. Okay, perfect. So let's back it up even a little more. So this is the 8 o'clock candle. Wait, first off, let's look for the SMT that we were seeing. Okay, we're talking about this high right here. Okay, goddamn, that took me way too long to find, bro. All right, so I was talking about this SMT right here. All right, cool. So ES came up and swept this high up here. Started chopping a little bit and then sold off on the 15-minute. So we shifted structure on the 15-minute at 8:30, and we did the same on ES. But on ES, we did not take this high. At the same time, though, NQ never had an imbalance over here at all. Like, not on the 1 hour, not on the 4 hour. So it wasn't really unexpected that we took out that high. There was nothing to prevent us from taking this high versus over here, there's this fair value gap that we were respecting. So anyways, once I seen this big market structure move down, I was already expecting that we might have moved down, right? Once I see this market structure shift to the downside on the 15-minute, I knew, okay, we're probably going to come for these lows. Now, I didn't know how far down we were going to go because we were so bearish yesterday and we had this retracement, but I did expect us to come down lower. So we actually moved pretty slow today. I wanted to see us come up into the 15-minute bearish fair value gap, and we did eventually, but first we created equal highs right at the border of it multiple times on ES. Okay, let me go back over here. It was this fair value gap right here. Yeah, hoes Glock code. Let's get to 9:30. Okay, right here. This shit was pissing me off. Y'all gonna see that in the video, man. We had equal highs here like 3 different times. See, look. I'm gonna use the horizontal ray to mark out the first one so y'all can see it. 52, 92, 50. Then we come over here. Look up here when I'm on the candle, alright? This candle right here. You see the H right there? 52, 9, 92, 50. So we made equal highs. We didn't even tap into this yet. So I was sitting here like, okay, be patient. Because what I wanted to see was a retracement into here. And then on the 1 minute, some type of displacement down, fair value gap entry targeting these lows over here. Now, ES never even came down to take these lows, but we'll get to that in a second. So we kept making equal highs. Finally, ES took the buy side level and tapped into the imbalance, and I took a short after we started to displace to the downside since we finally had an SMT. This is where I fucked up. Okay, so this is where I fucked up. You see when I journal, I'm going through a play-by-play. Like exactly what happened, play-by-play, step-by-step, what I was thinking, all that shit. So this is where I fucked up. I got in, and the candle that I got in off of was very strong, but once we entered, it rejected and formed as a doji with an almost non-existent candle body. We had already shifted market structure to the downside, but we started to move sideways a little bit, and I could tell by the reaction and the lack of movement lower after a candle or two that the trade was not going to play out. I got out because of the position. I got out because of position exit exception 3. I realized the setup was not high quality based on the evidence that was present before / as I entered. Alright, so what I meant right here, what the fuck is that? It moved now. I got out because of position exit exception 3. I basically have a rule where stop loss or TP has to get hit before I get out of a trade. But there's 2 exceptions, or maybe it was 3. Let me see. Right here. The first exception is, oh no, that's the only way. The single exception to this rule is if you broke your rules to get in the trade, if you are over risking and moving stop lock lower as a first option doesn't make sense, or you realize that the setup is not valid or high quality after you get in based on evidence that was present before you entered. Okay, so let's go over this trade to really make it make sense. So we got in at 10, we got in at 10:11. So let's go down to the 1 minute. Mark out these highs. Yeah, we're not gonna be able to do the replay. We're just gonna have to go back in time and find these hoes, because moving ES and NQ at the same time is like annoying. Let's just make sure this shit all the way played out. Alright. So we come up. This is another equal high right here. We come up, boom, we sweep right here. So that was a sweep I had been waiting for. We tapped into the 15-minute fair value gap. And right here, I wanted to take a turtle soup entry, but I was not confident enough yet. A turtle soup entry is basically when we have liquidity or nestled highs in a fair value gap. Now, nestled high just means highs that create a fair value gap, essentially. Like on the 15-minute, this is just one single high that creates a fair value gap between 3 candles. I'll show y'all real quick. This high right here is liquidity on the 1 minute. It's really liquidity period, but on the 1 minute it's clear. So that's all turtle soup is. When we take a high, when we sweep liquidity and we tap into a 15-minute or any fair value gap at the same time. In this case, it was a 15-minute fair value gap. You see, this is a huge SMT. We came all the way up here on the NQ. This shit a little weird because sometimes the highs aren't exactly the same on each pair, and you have one high that's higher, but you get the premise. This high got taken on ES on the 5 minute. Like that. It got taken on NQ, it didn't. So this is like a perfect turtle soup entry in my mind, right? So boom. In my head, when I'm finna take this trade, I'm just waiting for this placement through this low right here. This red line. I'm waiting for us to push with some type of like explosive move through this low, right? But as I'm watching prices go, we had that right here. Nah, that wasn't it. That was the first one to close below. I hadn't even gotten in yet, but I was reacting, so I was about to get in right there. But the next candle started to come down heavy. Boom. We came down all the way down there, and then we rejected. Okay, see, look. We had an SMT right there, and we had another SMT right here. So my stop was right above the SMT. All right, so let's go back over here. We got an SMT up there. I put my stop right at the high. And I don't know where I actually got filled at. Let's check one more time. $52.88.50. But boom. So I showed y'all I got in. I got in when this candle right here looked like that when it was full. But then it rejected. And I was like, oh shit, I don't like that at all. So I continue to watch. Boom. And you see, we're not really doing shit. We moving sideways. At this point, I'm like, okay, this is not going to work out. 10-15. I end up getting out right on this candle. So I ended up losing a lot less than I really was risking. Because right here, I'll show y'all. I don't even know if it'll let you do it. Because the market's closed. Yeah, the market's closed, so it's not going to let me. But I was risking like $30 maybe, and I lost. Oh, I was risking more than 30 then. I was probably risking like 50, but I lost 30 because I closed that bitch early. So, boom. That was the first trade. And let's see what I did wrong here, right? So this, I might drop a template in the description down below, but reason for outcome, we just read the trade recap. All right here. Now, after I got in, I immediately knew that I should have waited for an FVG, which is a fair value gap, to form, and got in off of that. SMTs are strong, but I'm only using them as confirmation from now on. So this is what I'm learning from the trade, right? We had a major SMT. Again, we had a SMT right here with the NQ. Right? We had an SMT right here. And then we had another SMT at the highs right here. And a lot of traders that I watch on YouTube, if there's an SMT and you got a 15-minute fair value gap right here, you just swept some highs, you expect us to go lower, they're going to take it as soon as they start to see a push down at all type shit. Now, for me, maybe in this case, they would have seen something differently than I would have, and they wouldn't have taken this at all. But just taking this trade into account and journaling, for me, SMTs are no longer that. I can't take them that way. It's just an extra confluence that makes my setup even better than it already was. But I still got to take my fair value gap entry after a market structure shift. I can't just get in. You feel me? So yeah, SMTs are strong, but I am only using them as confirmation from now on. I will not be entering off of an SMT and displacement at this current point in time. So basically what I'm saying is right now at my skill level, my motherfucking experience level with SMTs, with ES and NQ, I'm not taking SMTs just based off of the SMT strictly. I still need my model, my setup. I still need to see that shit. Another thing that made this different was how slow we were moving and how long it took to finally tap into the 15-minute time frame fair value gap. So right here, in my opinion, if we were moving efficiently, I don't think we would have accumulated for so long. And if I let this shit play out on ES, we did have a little move down right there. And that's why I took my trade on NQ. But we really never did shit. Like, we took out these lows down here, but that was it, bro. These lows at 917, like these pre-market lows, that's all we did on ES. This wasn't a great day for ES, in my opinion. You still could have caught something, especially if you know what you're doing. But for me, I like bigger moves, and I'm not good at trading this type of price action. So ES really did nothing, and we can see that we kept making equal highs. We did not tap into this quickly. We wanted to keep chopping. So that was the first sign that I probably should have stayed out of this trade. Or the first red flag. Honestly, the market was clear on the higher time frames, but it just started to shit the bed when we opened. ES never had good price action, nor gave a valid setup, in my opinion. Grateful for this trade, though. I cut my loss 1.5 points below stop loss. Sold 2 contracts. I saved around $15. So yeah, I was risking about $50 on that trade. One more thing, I sold 2 micros instead of 1. And this is over leveraging. I'm already over leveraging with 1 micro. 2 micros is ridiculous and unacceptable. I also didn't have my rules open when I was watching the charts. These mistakes cannot and will not happen again. So yeah, I'm trading on a $100 account. I'm gonna show y'all one more time right here. 174, and that's $19 up than when I started. This was the first trade. This right here was the first trade I took on the account. So I was at like 150, I think 155. One contract is already risking, like right here, like I said, one contract would have been risking around $25. That's like fucking 25% of my account. You feel me? So I'm already over leveraging, which ain't a big deal because it's a $100 account. You gotta over leverage, but 2 contracts is unacceptable, bro. All right, so now let's get into fucking NQ's trade, man. I don't even want to look at ES no more. So I took NQ's trade in here, and I really took it to this low, but I wanted to see this market maker buy model. I'm sorry, this market maker sell model completely fill out. So I really wanted to see this low on Tuesday. This is what my draw on liquidity was. Now, I wasn't going to target all the way down here because, again, I was only trading with 1 contract. So what did I see on this trade? Let's go look. We already read the pre-market for both of these. They were the same. All right. Boom. So we lose that ES trade, and at this point, I decide to just wait and be patient. Well, when my position got stopped after my exit, it created a third SMT between ES and NQ. So I said when my position got stopped, I was already out of the trade. That's why I put after my exit in parentheses. Okay. This was the third SMT. So we had an SMT right here, an SMT right here, and this was the third SMT. So I'll mark it out for y'all real quick. This was the third SMT that was created between ES and NQ. We created the SMT. ES took the internal high, NQ did not. We then had a market structure shift and fair value gap on the 1 minute on NQ, and I wanted to get in right at that point. So I'm acknowledging all my feelings, all my thought processes as I'm watching the market. I'm writing this at like a few hours after I take the trade, but I can remember all this shit. I can play it back in my mind, but I wanted to get in right here. Literally right here. One minute bearish fair value gap. We had this market structure shift below this low. Actually, I think that's why I didn't take it, because we Like, this was so close, you can't really count it as a market structure shift. I think that's exactly why I didn't take it, but I wanted to get in right here. So we got an SMT at the highs. We already are respecting this bearish fair value gap on the higher time frames. We got 3 SMTs between ES and NQ, and they're all bearish. We come back up into this 1 minute, we reject it. What happens next? We respected the imbalance and continued to the downside with another bearish candle. This sequence, the retracement into the imbalance followed by another push down, created a bearish order block on the 1 minute, and so I decided to get in on NQ and target the first set of 15-minute lows. 18, 516.75. So this was my target right here. All right, so let's go back. So this is what I was talking about in that little segment. When we came up and tapped into this 1 minute fair value gap and rejected it and pushed down, I was talking about this sequence. The retracement back up towards the fair value gap created this bullish candle, and then we had to push down below this low. Now, that right there is now an order block. So what did I do? I marked this out. We don't even have 1 minute order blocks, but I marked this out. I put my TP at the low. My limit order at the low. I put my stop up above this high. I wasn't confident enough to put it down here. Now that would have been a crazy RR. Well, I guess not crazy. 1 to 4. That's a good ass RR because I closed down here, but I wasn't confident enough to put it right there. I wanted to be wary just in case we wanted to come back up into here, into this fair value gap one more time, because that's happened to me before. And I was targeting down here, but as you can see, this low is already 1 to 2.42. Y'all already watched this trade live, so y'all already know what I'm talking about right now. So this was my main target, a 1 to 4.75, and I was very confident in this target. And as you can see, let's just let this play a little bit. As you can see, we do end up hitting this. Ooh, perfect. Look at that. We do end up hitting this without ever stopping me out in my original position. Even up here, we wouldn't have got stopped out. But that's a long time. That's like what, 10:30 to 3:30? That's a 3-hour trade. I was very confident in this low, but I started to see us start to reject right here. We had this rejection candle. This shit came up real high before it closed back down here. Then we had another one with a big wick. And then we started to come up a little bit. And I was like, you know what? I'm happy with my profits. I'm going to take my profit. And I took right here. Right here. So we took out this low. At this point, I was ready to take profits really at any sign of a rejection because I already hit a 1 to 2, which is basically my bare minimum. And got out right here. So let's continue into the journal. What did I say? I was only in one contract, so I couldn't have multiple targets. That's a big thing. I would have had multiple targets, but if I had multiple targets on this trade, I would have took the first half right here. Next half would have been here. But after I take this, I would have put my stop to break even. So I would have got stopped at break even before we would hit this. So this was a better outcome anyways. We sold off with absolutely zero drawdown. There was a swing low on the 1 minute that was a 1 to 2.3. And even though my original target was much lower, I knew that with the current price action of the day, that was another thing. That was another reason why I was a little bit cautious and I took profits early, is because of the price action on ES, and I already took a loss. The fact that I was trading a $100 account and the rejection candles, all of those were reasons why I thought I should take profits a little bit conservatively. We hit that level and had a rejection before coming back to it and closing below. So that's this right here. Because I said if we close below this level, I don't know if I said it in the video or if it was just in my head. I said if we close below this level, I'm going to hold down here. But we started to come back up and I was like, fuck it. Close with the 1 to 2.79 RR, great trade. So let's see, what are the reasons for the outcome? What could I have done better? What did I do that I didn't really like? What did I do that I did like? There's little to harp on when it comes to this trade. I waited for confirmation. There were multiple SMTs and the higher time frames were screaming bearish. I'm proud of how I managed this trade by closing a little bit sooner than I planned, but still locked in a great RR. We ended up coming all the way back up to entry and then selling off to hit my target and then some, almost completing the 15-minute model from today. This is another example of don't close unless SL or TP gets hit, because this trade would have had scared a lot of people out. And you'll see the screenshots. It was a great trade, and honestly, price action wasn't terrible today. It just sold off a lot later than expected. Bro, this entire week, bro, every single time I had a bias, every single time I thought price would go here, it actually went there. The reason I kept taking losses is because during the AM session, we would have terrible price action. We would move sideways, consolidate a lot, and then we would hit my shit during the PM session. Except for Wednesday. Wednesday just hit my shit fast as fuck. But we always had the big move during the PM session for some reason, and it was always after 3:15. Always after 3:15. We're going to get into that in a second. We never invalidated the 15-minute model on either pair. I'm very proud of how I executed both trades and how well my analysis played out. I just noticed that when I went to get into the trade, this is some random shit. I just want y'all to notice, like, as I'm reading through this shit, this might be boring as hell to y'all, but I hope y'all find it valuable. As I'm reading through this shit, how detailed I am with this shit, bro. And I'm literally describing from point 0 to point fucking 100. I'm going from A to Z. And then we got the screenshots and shit, and then I got my video, my live trading video. Boom. So let's get into Wednesday, man. So Wednesday, my trade was between 123 and 127, and this was obviously a loss. Going in today, I had a mixed bias. It was hard to tell whether we wanted to continue higher or push lower. Reason being, there were very little imbalances and we were deep into a premium on both indices. Was this Wednesday? Yep. We were deep into a premium on both indices. It was looking like we might push higher to the hourly swing highs. We had swept some highs and created an SMT between NQ and ES right as 9:30 open. We immediately started to push down. We moved about 80 points, had a brief accumulation period on the 1 minute, then moved another 130 points before taking the morning objective. Okay, so I didn't take a trade until PM session, so that wasn't the trade recap, but I was really just going over what happened before my trade. So this was the morning objective 100%. I knew this was the objective. No. I do think I remember an imbalance somewhere. Boom. So we had this 15-minute imbalance. But when I was seeing this, I really didn't know if we were going to keep going higher up to these highs or not. I really didn't know. But I saw this sweep right here. So I was really just being patient. Anyways, we swept some highs and created an SMT between NQ and ES right as 9:30 open. So we created an SMT right as 9:30 open because I didn't think ES was going to push up this high that fast. But that's the SMT. After that, what we did was we just had a straight push down on NQ. ES really had a straight push down too, damn near. It just was slower. It took longer to get there. I saw no entry whatsoever, and once the objective was taken, I no longer wanted to take a trade because I knew it would be low probability. I saw TJR post a trade recap and realized there actually was a setup in the AM. We had 2 5-minute fair value gaps in the first push down, and we tapped into the lower one during our accumulation phase, and then we pushed down to complete the 15-minute sell model. Okay, so here, right here, on NQ, you already seen the goddamn SMT. We're on the 5-minute right here. So these are the 2 5-minute fair value gaps that I was referring to. I personally always wait until discount of the range, but I understand when we're pushing hard, sometimes we not going to reach all the way back up into here. We sold off to here. We started a retracement. The reason I knew it was a retracement because on the 1 minute look, this is a completely different action right here than right here. We were no longer pushing down. We were starting to accumulate a little bit. I wanted to see us come up into here. We never got that. We pushed up into this 5-minute fair value gap and this breaker block right here. And that was the entry right here. This fair value gap as well. Now, what TJR did was, and this is probably what I would do and what I will do in the future, TJR waited for this 5 minute to get respected, and once he started to see it sell off, so once he saw, let's say it got through this low, or maybe it disrespected this 1 minute fair value gap, boom, he gets in, he puts his stop above these highs. The reason he puts it above these highs is because these should not get traded up into anymore. We've been selling off like crazy. We got this breaker block and 5-minute fair value gap, which is a unicorn setup. Once we get sell off right here, that's confirmation that we're probably not going to come back up. Once we close below, not close below, but trade below this swing low, and we start to push down, I would get in. This could be TP1 at 2.2. This could be TP2, 4.4. And this will be last TP, a 1 to 6. So that was the AM setup that I missed. I put that in my journal because, you know, we need to know shit like that. But now let's get into the actual trade. Recently, I've noticed the PM session has huge moves similar to the AM session. Since I didn't get a trade in the AM session, I decided to try out the PM. When we completed the 15-minute sell model, I took standard deviation of the leg down, measuring from the low to the high of the manipulation move, and I noticed that we rejected the -2 to 2.5 area perfectly. Not a single candle closed within that area. Alright, so what am I talking about here? Once we completed this 15-minute sell model on NQ, I knew the rest of the AM session was going to have shit action, and that's exactly what happened. This was not going to be high probability at all. I knew that for a fact. So what the fuck did I do? I took this move up. This is the manipulation leg. It's the move up before the big move down that also swept liquidity. I took the high to the low of this move. I put SD, which is standard deviation. And we can see we came down into the -2, -2.5 level and respected it. We tapped it once, twice, 3, 4 times, and we never really closed below. That black candle did, but there's nothing serious. So I seen this, I'm like, okay, we're probably going to reverse. This is a sign of reversal. Where are we going to reverse to? How far are we going to come back up? How far are we going to retrace? Well, now let's take equilibrium of this leg down. Equilibrium is right here. So I was like, okay, we're probably going to come up into this 5-minute fair value gap. Sorry, 15-minute. I expected a retracement to discount after that, especially since we started to accumulate on the 1 minute and 5 minute. Boom, this is a 5 minute. You see we accumulated. So on the 1 minute, imagine what that shit looks like. We then had an MSS, a market structure shift, on the 5 minute and took a strong move and had a strong move through a swing high with multiple imbalances created. I wanted to get in off a retracement, but we moved too high and I took out my first target. On the 5 minute, we closed above this swing high and this swing high, and we created a fair value gap right here with a nice order block. I marked out this fair value gap. Yo, if my shit was echoing this whole time, alright, cool. I marked out this fair value gap, and I wanted to see a retracement into here. Now, if we come down to the 1 minute, you can see we also had some areas of interest in here as well. So boom, I came down and refined it a little bit. I wanted to see this imbalance get tapped into. This was gonna be my first target. My stop was gonna be below this low. I believe it was gonna be somewhere in this area. Well, we end up pushing straight up and taking out this target. I decided to give it some time. About an hour later, I opened the laptop again and noticed we had came back into the imbalances and respected them. We started to come back up, and on the 5 minute, we closed above a bearish fair value gap, creating an inverse. I decided I would like to take my chances on that setup, and I got in when we tapped the inverse fair value gap with my stop below the recent 5 minute candle. I originally wanted to get in where the 1 minute order block was, right below the inverse, but I didn't think we would go that low, so I took a higher entry price, and I also moved my stop loss to accommodate. That's huge. This right here. I put that in for a very, very specific reason. I originally wanted to get in where the 1 minute order block was, right below the inverse, but I didn't think we would come that low. I took a higher entry price and I moved my stop loss higher to accommodate that. We close above this bearish fair value gap, creating an inverse, I should say. Boom. So now we have an inverse fair value gap. We're showing bullish momentum. I already have a strong feeling that we're going to come up here. This is already my draw, so this market structure shift back to the downside doesn't mean much. It really just looks like we're tapping into this order block, and we're respecting this fair value gap because we didn't close in below any of them. We respected this order block, so I'm thinking, okay, we're about to start pushing up now. I scale into the 1 minute. I got multiple targets. This is my first one. This is my second one. And this is my third one. So we start to push up. I wanted to take this fair value gap entry right here. This is exactly how my shit was looking. We perfectly in line with this 1 minute. I said fair value gap, I meant order block. We perfectly in line with this 1 minute order block right there. All right, I put my limit order right here, and I put my stop down here below this candle's low. This was my first target, like I said, 1 to 2.4. Second target, last target. I wanted to take this like right here, and we hadn't closed above the 5 minute yet. We were still forming. Once we closed above the 5 minute, I started to psych myself out. And I was like, look, we're probably not going to come back down to that order block. I should just take this inverse fair value gap and put my stop below this low. So now what I'm doing is I'm just taking the 5 minute model. There's no reason for me even to be on the 1 minute at this point if I'm going to take it like this. If I'm going to scale down to the 1 minute, then I should wait for another entry. I should wait for this to reject and then another entry. Or I should just take it at the order block. There was no reason for me to switch between the 5 minute and the 1 minute if I was just going to take it like this. So I end up getting in right here. Boom, get tapped in. Again, first TP is right there. We start to push down. I start to get nervous. I don't like that it's 1 o'clock. I'm thinking, damn, I don't usually trade the PM session. I'm not liking this. My account's only $100. Let me just get out. I already took a L. No, I didn't take a L this day yet. But let's just read this real quick. I got into the trade, but I didn't feel the best about it. We didn't get a quick move up and started to consolidate. I thought about the time of day around 1 p.m. and I got uneasy about the trade. I felt like I shouldn't have taken it. We started to push lower and I told myself I should get out. I started to wait for price to push back up, which is something I do often, I'm not gonna lie. I'll tell myself close the trade and I'll wait for me to get out of a little bit more drawdown. I wanted to go back and profit first. That's a bad habit. I started to wait for price to push back up, but we didn't. So I just got out of the position with a small $11 loss, and I was risking $22. So I ended up getting out like right here. This candle right here, that's where I got out. The fuck off my screen. So I saved a lot of money because my stop was down here. Now, remember, I told you my original entry was going to be at this order block on the 1 minute. Right? My stop was going to be down here. Look what happens. Anyways, y'all seen what happened. We did not get stopped out. We hit our first TP. We came real close, but we didn't get stopped out. That entry would have played out. The one I took did not. So, but you can see we end up coming down here. This order block right here on the 5 minute. Sweeping these lows on the 1 minute. I believe right here we had an SMT. No, it wasn't right here. It was right here. So we had an SMT at the lows. We had a turtle soup entry because we had this order block and this sell side sweep. And then we start to push up. This would have been my entry right here. I was on the charts at this point. Boom. Get in right here. This would have been the entry. I shouldn't say this would have been my entry. I don't know if I would have actually taken this if I saw it. Actually, I was looking at the charts when this happened. I just wasn't really paying attention for real. I was like, I was there, but I wasn't really giving a fuck. I was just watching. We had the SMT, sweep, order block. Boom, we come down, tap into this. This would have been my first TP at this little high, which is relatively equal to this high over here. This would have been my second TP. I only had one contract though, so boom, press play, watch that bitch take off with efficiency. This is how your trade should look. This is how my trades should fucking look. This is how you know you got a good fucking entry. When it goes straight to your shit. Just like my Tuesday setup. The last win that I showed y'all. This is how it looked. That's how you know you're actually taking a good trade. This trade over here, bro. This trade right here. When I fucking got in up here or some shit. And then it starts to chop. And then I get out because it's doing too much. That's not a good entry, bro. This is where everything's aligning. It makes sense. Yes, I had my bias was up here over here and we did end up hitting it. I just mistimed it. So that's the thing that I'm working on the most. That's what I'm noticing in my journal. I'm mistiming my setups. Like my bias is perfect, but I'm timing it wrong. But yeah, this would have been a beautiful trade. Fucking perfect. Sell side sweep, 5 minute order block, SMT, displacement through this swing high. Fair value gap, tap into it. That is an A+ setup right there. And guess what it gives us? A 1 to 3.7. That's a beautiful trade, man. And I'm going to be catching those soon. Y'all gonna be seeing them live. So that was my Wednesday trade. Right here. I closed my laptop, turned off my camera at 2:30 or 3 p.m. I opened it back up to see how price was moving. I saw that my original position would have gotten stopped had I not closed my position early. I came back around 4 p.m. and I saw that the move back to equilibrium that I anticipated happened after 3 p.m. It was bigger than I expected. It was way bigger than I expected. Look at this shit. That's still a good 40. That's 50 points higher than I actually anticipated in the first place, bro. Now, what did I do wrong on this trade? It says it right here. I was slightly influenced in this trade by seeing TJR's setup and wishing I would have taken that. So again, I mentioned that I saw TJR's recap video. He took this trade right here on the 5 minute. He got in right here after he saw the rejection and he put his stop above these highs. That had me so... I wasn't angry. I wasn't like, damn, I wish I took that. But in the back of my head, I was like, yo, that shit would have been a nice setup. So yeah, I was slightly influenced by TJR I didn't make it didn't make me emotional. It was a subtle feeling, but I didn't run from it, nor did I let it affect me. I do think it played a part in me desiring to watch the PM session though. I knew that the AM session wanted to move lower after the first big move, but I felt like there was no possible entry. So that's what I'm talking about. That feeling right there, it's like, damn, I knew we wanted to go lower. I just couldn't find the entry. Then you look back and you realize there actually was an entry. So that's gonna have you in a mindset where it's like, damn, I need to take a trade now. Boom. It wasn't a terrible setup. SMT at the lows, 5 minute fair market structure shift, inverse fair value gap. I just didn't like the timing on it. It wasn't A plus either. So apparently there was a goddamn SMT. Hold up. Let me see then. Oh, I think I was talking about this. This little shit. That ain't really nothing though. I think I was talking about that SMT for the long I was trying to take. I do like how I could address my uneasiness and get out of the trade without feeling guilty about it. Cause I'm the type, I feel guilty about getting out of a trade. I feel like I committed to the trade when I press sell or buy, and after that it's like I have to take what comes with it. But that's a bad mindset, bro. That's what's gonna keep you unprofitable. You can't be thinking like that, bro. Like, yes, TP or stop loss. If your fucking setup was good, if it was perfect, if there's nothing wrong with it, yes, go ahead, TP or stop loss. Don't get out. But when you looking at it and you realize, okay, damn, this doesn't look very right. There's something wrong about this trade. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's something wrong about this trade. And you know deep down, like, I shouldn't be in this trade. You get that feeling. You just know you should not be in this trade. Don't feel guilty for getting out, bro. Because at that point, you just gambling if you keep it on. I do like blah, blah, blah. I'm getting good at getting out of trades I shouldn't be in, which is facts because I did it again on Thursday. I also want to mark out that the big moves come around 3 p.m. and are actually bigger than the AM session sometimes. This one was 120 points. We also moved straight to my target. If you want to trade PM, wait until 2:30. Same shit happened here. Same shit happened on Thursday. So let's get into Thursday real quick. 10:16 to 10:36. Let's mark it out. I think it was on ES2. Damn, look at this, bro. I was really expecting us to sell off yesterday too. Again, I was expecting us to sell off, and we just did this right here. Some ass. So I took one trade this morning. It was on ES. Going into the day, I wanted to see a move to the downside. The reason was similar to yesterday's trade. I observed the move to the upside during the PM session yesterday, and I found the manipulation move. I used it to find standard deviation, and notice we hit the 2.5 level again and started to reject. This manipulation move, standard deviation, 2 to 2.5. Started rejecting it and accumulating. On top of that, we had this 1 hour fair value gap. And these highs above it that got swept. I mean, these highs below it that got swept. What is that, a turtle soup? Well, fuck this turtle soup shit, man. This shit was ass. The same area we rejected was 15-minute accumulated highs that we swept. And we also tapped into a 1 hour bearish fair value gap at the same time. I just told y'all that. We then had a small retracement back down, nowhere near equilibrium, and accumulated all night on the 15-minute. At the gym, I saw this and expected us to push lower back into discount of the range. There's a breaker block, multiple bullish imbalances, and 1 minute nestled lows right at equilibrium. So these areas were my drawing liquidity. So what am I talking about? On the 5 minute, this breaker block right here. Really just these highs. but this breaker block right here. Boom. Let me take this off. We got all these imbalances. We got 1 minute nestled lows right here. Again, nestled lows are just nestled highs or lows, or highs or lows that they're fucking in a fair value gap. You see what I'm saying? So on the 15 minute, we marked out the 1 minute lows with this line. You can see the lows on the 15 minute are just part of the fair value gap. It's the high in the 15 minute fair value gap. See what I'm saying? So those are nestled lows. So theoretically, every fair value gap is gonna have nestled lows on it if you scale down low enough. But on the 1 minute, they're accumulated. That's what makes it different. There's a stack of these lows right here. See? It's not like on the 1 minute we just tapped and then continued up. We actually sat here for a second. So then if we take equilibrium of these lows down here to this high, boom. All of it aligns right there. So this entire area, but mainly this red line, the 50%, was my draw. And we're probably going to come down here on Monday or whenever we open up. But that was my draw on liquidity. I expected us to push up one more time to sweep the highs that we were creating in this consolidation, and then move down to take out our draw. Going into 9:30 opening bell, we had to push up to sweep those highs, but NQ pushed a little further and created a nice SMT on the 15-minute time frame. At this point, I was very confident in shorts. I was so confident that I told y'all I'm expecting shorts early into this session, early into this open. You can see that on this video, the one called L's in the chat. Boom. So we had to push up to sweep those highs, but NQ pushed a little further. At this point, I was very confident in shorts. I expected the short right into the open, but NQ took off and took out its draw in 2 fucking candles. I was like, yo, are you dead ass? My bias mainly came from ES analysis though, so I was still bearish because we hadn't moved really at all. Slowly, we started to push up and ended up taking out the high that the 15-minute put in yesterday during the big move up. All right, let me start going over this shit. This is the SMT I was looking for, bro. God damn, why do we be taking me so long to find this shit? It don't matter. That was the SMT I was talking about that's going into the open. NQ swept this high all the way up here. ES was still holding these highs. But we did come up and sweep these highs down here. And that's what I was really looking for. So once we got the SMT, I was really confident in shorts. At least I wanted to see some shorts in here. I didn't know when it was going to happen. But I saw this first one, and I started to see us come down more. And I wanted to see us come back into this fair value gap or to create some shit. But no, these were the lows I was looking for right here. Nope, we just came down and took it out. And on NQ also, we had a breaker block over here too. So we came down, we swept that. Once that happened, I didn't know what to do. But I was still bearish on ES because, again, we had all this downside right here. We had all of these lows that I wanted to see. So I was less confident in shorts now that we took the lows on NQ. But we came up and swept internal highs and started to push back down again on the 1 minute. And I noticed that as we swept the internal high, we completely filled the 1 hour bearish fair value gap from earlier. On NQ, the push was very strong and it led to a market structure back to the downside. Oh, I forgot to read this. That led to a push down. So after we filled the fair value gap, we had a big push down on the 1 hour. on the 1 minute, my bad. So right here, this 1 hour fair value gap. Let's just wait for a second, watch. Boom, it gets filled perfectly right there. Once that happens, once we sweep these highs and we tap into that 1 hour fair value gap and we completely fill it, I'm like, okay, we might want to go down now. Now, prior to this, I seen that we broke structure to the upside on the 5 minute right here and created this fair value gap. But since we literally swept every high, we swept internal highs after sweeping the highs. Right here. We literally swept the highs. We swept these highs right here. We came up and we swept internal highs and filled the 1 hour fair value gap. And then we start to push down. And I'm already bearish still. I'm like, okay, we probably gonna push down. And what really sold the deal was NAS. Let's get some. Boom. NAS right here. Boom. This huge push down. I'm like, okay, we about to sell off again. We created this 5 minute bearish fair value gap and I wanted to take it over here. But after we kept moving down this far, I didn't think I was going to get a good entry. Especially since if I did get in right here at this 5 minute fair value gap, I wouldn't really know where to put my stop. I ain't gonna lie. I could put it right there. But again, we already took these lows, so it's not very likely. In my head, it's not very likely we come back down here. And I would want my stop up here above the highs. That would make me more comfortable, but I don't like that risk to reward. So for that reason alone, I was like, fuck that shit, bro. I'm finna take it on ES. Since NQ's moving down so much, we probably gonna move down on ES too. So boom, what do I see? Again, we had this buy side sweep. I'll change this to fucking orange or some shit. We had the buy side sweep. We had the 1 hour fair value gap that got filled right there at that purple line. We came up and we swept internal highs. This is also known as a stop raid. Stopping people out. Then we had this push down. We held this fair value gap right here on the 1 minute. A very small PD array, but we held it. And we continued to the downside. We had this volume imbalance right here along with this fair value gap. I'm sitting here thinking, yo, this shit looks clean. I took my limit order off 3 or 4 times, but then I realized, I was like, yo, I don't see a reason for us to come higher with all of this. But I see a huge reason for us to come lower. And on top of that, you can see right here, generated sell-side liquidity, along with a real reason to go back to the downside, which is equilibrium after the standard deviation level got rejected and the accumulation, this big-ass imbalance and the breaker block and the 1 minute lows. All of that was in my head. I was like, yo, we're finna go down, right? So boom. I'm like, fuck the 5 minute. This shit doesn't hold no weight. I didn't give a fuck about this. I'm getting in when we tap up here. So I think I got in at 10:15. I think that's what it said. 10:16. Boom. So I got in right here. We immediately reject and sell off a little bit. So right here, I'm feeling good. I'm like, yo, we finna be fine. My first TP, I think it was right here. I don't even think I cared that. Actually, nah, my first TP had to be here. But I was ready to take something off here if I had to. So boom. But then guess what? We start to consolidate a little bit. I'm like, at this point, I'm like, why are we still not moving down? Why haven't we moved down yet? Boom, we come back up. We break structure above this high. First off, this high should not even get tapped, bro. Once we tap into this fair value gap right here with this high and we start to sell off, we should not come back up here unless we're invalidating the trade. So once we get this, I'm like, yo, I might have to get out of this trade, bro. But I was feeling real guilty. I was thinking, let's get out of this trade over here because of the 5-minute getting rejected. And this doji candle. I was like, yo, this shit looks like it's holding. But something inside me told me, no, you can't get out. You already committed to this trade. You're only risking $13 to stay in the trade. But once we came up here, I was like, fuck that. That's stupid. I know this shit ain't gonna work. I need to get the fuck out the trade. So I ended up getting out. Where was it? 10:36, I think. Yeah, 10:36. I was in the trade for 20 minutes. I got out right here on this candle. I lost about $9 on that trade. So let's see what I said about this trade. Like, what were my thoughts? How did I journal this? Okay, so we got a rejection and had very little drawdown almost immediately. Hold up, let me finish reading this. On NQ, the push was very strong and it led to a market structure shift back to the downside on the 5-minute and a 5-minute bearish fair value gap at the same time. I wanted to take shorts on NQ, but the best stop I could get would have me risking $43. Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was. I wasn't comfortable risking that much with my $155 account. Alexa, turn the light brightness to 100%. I don't know why she be doing that shit. I was not comfortable risking that much with my $155 account. I couldn't recognize the poor efficiency of price action before I got in. We started to slow down because we were holding the 5-minute imbalance. Again, that 5-minute imbalance right here. It caused us to slow down because of these wicks. We were holding that shit. Started to come back up. I took my limit order off twice. This is how you know something's wrong. I took my limit order off twice before analyzing everything one more time and understanding there wasn't a reason to go back to the upside, but there was a great reason to go back down. There were multiple generated sell side levels, the liquidity, breaker blocks, bullish fair value gaps, and the standard deviation level that had me thinking we would go back to discount. I put my limit back on and ended up getting filled. So with this setup, I'm not gonna lie, I do not hate the thinking at all. I actually love the way I was thinking. I love all of these confluences that I was bringing up in my head for reasons to go lower. I like that a lot. But we failed to look at price action for what it was doing right now. Yes, those are all reasons, good, valid, solid reasons for us to go lower. But that just means we'll go lower at some point. How do you know when the point is now? Based on price action, based on the setup. This price action right here is not telling us we want to go right now. It's not. You need more confirmation. You need more efficiency. You use all of your confluences to find a bias, a solid bias. And then you use your setup or your model to find a solid entry point to know, okay, now is when we're making that move. Right? One more time, I'm going to say it. You use the higher time frames, use your fucking PD arrays, discount, all that shit. You use price action on the higher time frames to build confluences, to build a strong bias of where price is likely to move. Then you use the smaller time frames, the entry time frames, to find clean setups that tell you, okay, we're making that move now. This was not telling me we wanted to make the move now. Then this is a lot of value, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I'm giving y'all a lot of value right now. So I put my limit back on and I ended up getting filled. We got a rejection, had very little drawdown almost immediately. We pushed down to a 1-to-1, but we never took out any lows or liquidity. I was also unaware of that fact. I think one thing I might start to implement is that if we hit a 1-to-1, I can move my stop to break even depending on the setup and how confident I am. So one big thing about trading is everything is subjective. Everything is very, very up for interpretation. RR is huge, and I don't want to just take 1-to-1s every single time. I can't have a rule talking about, okay, always target 1-to-1s as your first TP. That cannot be a rule. Every setup is different. Sometimes taking 1-to-1s Like your first TP 1-to-1 can just fuck up your whole risk to reward, and it makes no sense in the setup. Sometimes it makes perfect sense. Sometimes you get into a trade, price action isn't as efficient as you thought it would be, and you want to take a 1-to-1 just so you can make sure you lock in some shit. So, as I was saying, we started to simply move sideways. We continued to respect the 5-minute imbalance, and I noticed we were not closing below it at all. We never closed below that shit. Why do I keep going back to the 1 minute? The 5-minute is huge on this trade. This is the reason I lost. Literally because of this fair value gap. We had created a 1 minute inverse fair value gap that was bearish. I forgot to mention that. And we continued to hold that. In the video, I said I would not get out unless stop loss or TP was hit, and that when I pressed sell, I was committing to the risk. Essentially, once I got in the trade, that money was no longer mine. That's also a good mindset to have. I think I was right about that, but you can still get out of the trade if you want to. Once you press sell, once you press buy, whatever you're risking, whatever your stop loss is, just pretend that money is completely gone. It's out of your account. I was risking $13 right here. Boom, I'm down $13 now. Once I get in, I'm down 13, and I'm probably not gonna get it back. That should be your mindset. That's gonna keep your risk management on point. I wrestled with myself a lot because we started to push back up, and we not only took out but closed above the intermediate term high that mitigated the fair value gap where I entered. That's this high right here. We closed above it. We shouldn't even trade above it. So I was like, nah, I gotta get out. This is something ICT says should never happen. Once that happened, I knew the trade was highly unlikely to play out. And on top of that, we had been moving sideways for about 18 minutes. I decided to say fuck all that shit, and I closed the trade early, losing probably about $5 to $6. I actually lost $9. $5 to $6 less than I would have. The biggest thing here was the lack of efficiency. Just because we shouldn't, this is the key that I learned in this trade. I learned something every single trade. Just because we shouldn't have a move back to the upside doesn't mean we are going to move to the downside immediately. Just because there's no reason for us to go higher, which is the whole reason I kept this limit order on, just because we don't have a reason to go higher doesn't mean we're going to go to the downside right now. We could chop. Again, how do you know we're going to move towards your draw right now? It's based on the setup that presents itself. This is not a good setup. Good management though. Forgot to mention that before I took off the trade. When I first got that uneasy feeling, I managed risk by moving my stop loss lower. So, reason for outcome. This is like the most important column in my entire journal. Everything else over here to the left is like a play-by-play of exactly what happened. This is breaking down everything I did wrong, what I was thinking, how to prevent it. So, right here it says, the lesson for today's trade is just because we don't have a reason to go higher doesn't mean we are going to go lower. Swear to God, that shit was deep when I really said that shit out loud. I was bearish and saw many reasons to go lower. But when I saw the 5-minute rejecting a bullish fair value gap, I questioned the setup and took off my limit order. I then told myself that there is no reason to go higher, but many reasons to go lower and put the limit back on. The thing is, the setup itself was questionable in the first place. It was already questionable. The whole reason we use a specific entry model and setup to get into a trade is because it's an indication that price wants to move now. Yes, here I saw a reason to go lower and no reason to go higher, but the market can always move sideways. This is why price action is important. We need strong moves down or up. We had a strong displacement move through a low, but then we started to slow down. We also were rejecting a discount array on the 5-minute, which isn't a good sign. We had the correct bias, just bad timing due to poor price action. I said do with a D-O. We had the correct bias, just bad timing due to poor price action. The PM session is proof of this. So like I said, my bias was right. The trade was just off because of the timing. Look at the PM session, bro. We moved straight down. Look at these are all of the targets I had. These are all the targets I had and we hit them. This is on ES as well. Look at this, bro. This is what I'm saying, bro. You have to look at price action. Your bias can be fucking perfect. Your bias can be completely right, but price action is not efficient yet. It's not telling you we want to move now. This is the biggest thing I learned today. On Thursday. This is really the biggest lesson of the whole week. This loss was huge. I'm so glad I took this loss. Boom, SMT, buy side sweep. We get strong displacement down through these lows. Come back up into this fair value gap sell off. I don't know if we really would have got an entry right here. I don't know if I would have actually entered on this, but this is much more efficient price action regardless. It's a little choppy in this area, and it's like one candle that takes everything out, but we still got SMT's buy side sweep. And this ain't super efficient either. I ain't even gonna lie. Regardless, the bias was right. The PM session is proof of this because we had a strong move. Because we had the move I expected, a strong move down, while I got chopped up because I took a questionable entry where not everything aligned. The real question is, why did I take the entry even though I know it wasn't the highest quality? That's the real question. Why did I take the entry even though I knew it wasn't the highest quality? Why did I still get in anyways? Why didn't I acknowledge the poor price action until after I closed the trade? I didn't acknowledge the poor price action until after I closed the trade, after I lost, and then I could see it perfectly clearly. As soon as I closed the trade, I asked myself, why would I ever get into a trade that looked like that? Be careful. You have to be more aware. I wanted to quickly add that I also love how I managed this trade and cut my loss early, but I think I could have did it faster. I was actually up $4 or $5 when I said I wanted to take the trade off, but the feeling of guilt wouldn't let me. It wouldn't let me do it, bro. I felt guilty the whole time. Even after I closed the trade, I still felt guilty. I felt like I was breaking my rules. The thing is, this was following my rule. Only exception to get out of a trade early is if you notice the trade is not high quality or it is invalid due to the evidence that was present as or before you were getting into the trade. So if I get into a trade and I look back on the setup and I realize, oh shit, this is not a good setup because XYZ, because of something that's in the market that was there before I got in, I just didn't realize it, then I can get out. That's like one of the only exceptions. The big thing that tipped me off to get out of this trade was a 5-minute imbalance that we kept holding, and that was present for a while before I got into the trade. I should have cut this trade a lot sooner, but that's okay. I came in risking $14-ish, but I only lost 9. Good shit. So as you can see, this week, I started off losing 21%. Then my next trade gained around 40%, and I was up 27%. That one win carried me through the rest of my losses. I lost 3 trades and I only won 1, yet I'm still up 12%. Risk management is fucking huge, bro. Risk management is huge, and I'm so thankful for that shit. But yeah, man, that concludes this video. 2 hours of fucking, oh my God, it's gonna take me forever to edit this. Bro, y'all about to, if this shit don't get, some views, bro, I don't even give a fuck, to be honest. This was great. This was a great exercise for me. This just helped me out so much, reviewing all of this shit, going through every single trade and breaking it down for y'all. Huge. This is gonna help me a lot. So even if this don't get a lot of views, I don't really give a fuck, man. Yeah, it's 1 a.m. and I gotta go box in the morning, so I'm probably gonna get off the damn charts now. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this. I want y'all to notice in my journal when I'm reading that shit, I'm literally doing a play-by-play of exactly what happened, what I was thinking, why I took the trade, everything. And then even after I do the play-by-play, I add another column so that I can fucking break down everything. You know what I'm saying? So I can break down exactly what I did right, exactly what I did wrong, exactly what I learned. Bro, I promise you, you are going to get better so much faster doing this. Like, again, I'm not profitable, but I am close, bro. I don't give a fuck what anybody tell me. I'm close to profitability. It's probably gonna be like 1 more year max. 1 more year max. I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, man, make sure y'all fucking journal, bro. If I haven't been journaling this whole time, if I hadn't been journaling this whole time, bro, bro, I would be absolute dog shit at trading. I would have no idea what I'm doing, bro. I would not be able to explain any of these setups to you. I wouldn't even know what I'm doing wrong, probably, because I'm just taking trades. Journaling is huge. If you don't journal, I don't think you could even be profitable. I don't think it would be possible, because this shit is literally like science, bro. You're like a scientist collecting data, doing experiments, researching the data, looking back on what your experiments concluded to, adjusting the variables. You know what I'm saying? This is literally science. This is literally science. So yeah, man, I appreciate y'all. I fuck with y'all. I really hope y'all find this valuable, man. I really do. But I'm gonna catch y'all, man. Y'all be safe.